For more than 25 years, using the internet followed one simple routine. You had a question, you opened Google, you typed a few keywords, and Google gave you a list of websites. But something strange is happening. Today, Google may answer your question before you visit a single website. It can compare products, summarize research, create plans, understand images, and continue the conversation when your first question is not enough. The familiar blue links are still there, but they are no longer always the main event. Google is slowly changing from a machine that helps you find answers into a machine that tries to give you the answer itself. And that change could transform the internet, advertising, and millions of businesses that depend on being discovered online. This is the day Google stopped being just a search engine. In the early internet, finding useful information was difficult. Websites existed, but there was no reliable map connecting people to the right page. Google changed that. Its promise was simple: organize the world's information and help people find what they needed. You typed a question. Google studied billions of pages. Then it ranked the results based on which pages appeared most useful and trustworthy. That system created an entire digital economy. Businesses hired SEO specialists to reach the first page. Publishers created articles to attract search traffic. Advertisers paid to appear above organic results. And websites earned money whenever visitors arrived through Google. Google was not creating most of the information. It was directing people toward the businesses, publishers, and creators who created it. The search page became the entrance to the internet, but now Google is redesigning that entrance. The change began gradually. Google added weather boxes, maps, featured snippets, shopping results, and answers to simple questions. Users no longer needed to open a website to check a sports score, calculate a conversion, or find a business address. But generative AI changed the scale of what was possible. Instead of answering only basic questions, Google could now produce a complete response to something much more complicated. You could ask, what is the best laptop for a video editor who travels frequently and has a limited budget? Traditional search would give you links. AI-powered search can compare your requirements, summarize different options, and explain why one product may suit you better than another. And instead of starting another search, you can ask a follow-up question. What if battery life matters more than performance? Now the experience is no longer a list of results, it is a conversation. Google introduced AI overviews broadly and later expanded them to more than 200 countries and territories and over 40 languages. It then developed AI mode for more complex, conversational, and multimodal searches. In May 2026, Google described a redesigned intelligent search box as its biggest search upgrade in more than 25 years. That tells us something important. AI is not simply being added beside Google search. AI is becoming the new interface for Google search. At first, this transformation appears dangerous for Google. The company built one of history's most profitable businesses by placing advertisements around search results. So why risk changing the experience? Because user behavior was already changing. People had discovered that they could ask AI tools complete questions instead of carefully selecting keywords. They could request comparisons, explanations, summaries, and personalized recommendations in seconds. The search bar was beginning to compete with the conversation box. Google faced a difficult choice. It could protect the traditional search experience, or it could disrupt its own product before someone else did. This is a pattern we have seen before. Netflix moved away from DVDs before physical rentals disappeared. Apple turned the iPod into an app inside the iPhone. Successful companies sometimes have to weaken their existing product to build what replaces it. Google's biggest threat was not that people would stop wanting information. It was that they might stop starting their journey on Google. So Google began transforming the product that had made it dominant. For users, AI answers can feel convenient. For businesses and publishers, the situation is more complicated. Imagine spending years creating a helpful website. You research questions, write detailed articles, hire experts, publish original information. Google studies that information and uses it to create a summary. The user gets the answer without visiting your page. Google does include links and says its AI features are designed to help people discover websites. It has also introduced more prominent citations, preferred source features, and dedicated reporting for AI visibility. But the fundamental tension remains. The faster Google answers a question, the less reason a user may have to click elsewhere. That creates an uncomfortable question. What happens to the open web when the platform standing between users and websites becomes the final destination? Publishers need visitors to support advertising and subscriptions. Online stores need visitors to sell products. Service businesses need visitors to submit forms or schedule calls. For years, success meant ranking near the top of Google. Now a business may also need to become one of the sources Google's AI chooses to mention. The competition is no longer only for the first blue link. It is for inclusion inside the answer. Google cannot simply remove websites from the equation. Its AI still needs current, useful, and original information. Without publishers, researchers, creators, reviewers, and businesses producing new material, the system has less knowledge to organize and summarize. This means Google must balance three groups. Users want fast answers, advertisers want attention and measurable results. Publishers and businesses want traffic. Helping one group can hurt another. A complete AI answer may satisfy the user but reduce website visits. More links may support publishers but make the experience feel less convenient. More advertising may protect Google's revenue but weaken user trust. Google is already adapting advertising to AI-powered search, including conversational product experiences and ads within AI-generated results. This shows that Google is not abandoning its business model. It is rebuilding that model around a new type of search experience. The question is whether it can change how information is delivered without damaging the ecosystem that produces the information. For businesses, the old strategy was straightforward. Find popular keywords, create pages around those keywords, build authority, rank higher, generate traffic. That strategy is not completely disappearing. Google's own guidance says the same fundamentals remain important. Useful content, accessible pages, accurate, structured information, and a strong experience for visitors. But businesses now need to think beyond ranking. They need to become recognizable sources. That means publishing original experience instead of repeating information already available everywhere. It means demonstrating expertise, including first-hand examples, answering specific customer questions clearly, building a brand that people actively search for by name, and creating information valuable enough to be referenced, not merely indexed. In the old internet, visibility meant appearing in the results. In the new internet, visibility may mean becoming part of the answer. Google did not wake up one morning and stop being a search engine. The change happened gradually. A summary appeared above the links. Then users could ask follow-up questions. Then search began understanding images, files, and increasingly complex requests. Each update seemed like another helpful feature. Together, they reveal something much larger. Google is transforming from a directory of the internet into an intelligence layer sitting on top of it. The old Google said, "Here are the places where you might find your answer." The new Google increasingly says, "Here is the answer, and here are the sources behind it." That may feel like a small difference, but it changes who receives attention, who earns the click, who controls the customer journey, and who benefits financially from the world's information. For more than 2 decades, businesses learned how to compete for Google's rankings. Now they must learn how to exist inside Google's answers. The companies that survive this change will not necessarily be the ones producing the most content. They will be the ones producing information that is original, credible, and difficult to replace. Because the future of search may not be about choosing from 10 blue links. It may be about trusting one generated response. And when that happens, Google will no longer be just the road leading people around the internet. It will become the place where more of the journey begins and ends. Google search is changing, but this is only one part of a much bigger transformation happening in business. Subscribe to Brand Locally, where we uncover the strategies, psychology, and hidden decisions changing the world's biggest companies. Because the most important business shifts usually begin before most people notice them.